For most of the 20th century, Mexico was one of the most closed economies in the world. Imported goods were expensive. Foreign companies faced restrictions. Competition from abroad was limited. If you walk through a Mexican city in the 1970s, you wouldn't find anything from the United States, no Korean electronic stores, no Chinese-made products on the shelves. Mexican leaders believed that the country could become rich by protecting its own industries from the outside world. And for a while, it worked. Between the 1940s and 1970s, Mexico experienced what economists would later call the Mexican miracle. The economy expanded rapidly. Factories appeared across the country. Cities grew. Millions of people moved from rural villages into urban centers. But by the 1980s, that model was collapsing. Today, Mexico exports more than $500 billion worth of goods every year. It manufactures cars, aircraft components, medical devices, televisions, refrigerators, and computer equipment for customers around the world. So how did Mexico go from one of the world's most protected economies to one of the world's most globalized? This is the story of how globalization transformed Mexico. After the Mexican Revolution, Mexican leaders feared becoming economically dependent on foreign powers, especially the United States. Their solution was a strategy known as import substitution industrialization. The idea was simple. Instead of importing products from abroad, Mexico would manufacture them at home. The government imposed tariffs, restricted imports, protected domestic industries, and encouraged Mexican companies to produce everything from textiles to automobiles. This strategy wasn't unique to Mexico. Much of Latin America adopted similar policies during the 20th century. Why buy from foreigners when you could build your own industries? For several decades, the results appeared impressive. Factories expanded, industrial employment increased, economic growth averaged roughly 6% annually during much of the Mexican Miracle period. Mexico City exploded in size. New highways, dams, industrial parks, and manufacturing centers appeared across the country. The ruling party partly maintained extraordinary political control during this era. For most of the 20th century, Mexico effectively operated under a one-party political system. The PRI oversaw economic planning, labor unions, state-owned enterprises, and major development projects. To many observers, Mexico appeared to be on a path towards becoming a fully industrialized nation. But underneath the growth, problems were beginning to emerge. Because Mexican companies faced little foreign competition, many industries became inefficient. Consumers often paid higher prices. Innovation lagged behind more competitive economies. And the government increasingly relied on spending and borrowing to keep economic growth alive. Then came the 1980s, the decade that changed Mexico forever. During the 1970s, major oil discoveries convinced Mexican leaders that the country had entered a new era of prosperity. The government borrowed heavily. Public spending surged. State-owned enterprises multiplied. Oil revenues were expected to pay for everything. But then, oil prices collapsed. Interest rates rose. Debt exploded. And in 1982, Mexico announced it could no longer meet its debt obligations. The country entered one of the worst economic crises in its modern history. Inflation soared. Growth stagnated. Real wages fell. Millions of Mexicans saw their standard of living decline. The crisis shattered confidence in the old economic model. Suddenly, policymakers began asking a different question. What if Mexico was too disconnected from the global economy? This marked the beginning of a dramatic shift. Mexico began lowering trade barriers. State-owned enterprises became privatized. Foreign investment restrictions were relaxed, and the country slowly started opening itself to the outside world. The most important turning point came in 1994. That was the year that NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement came into effect. NAFTA connected Mexico, the United States, and Canada into one of the largest free trade zones on Earth. For Mexico, the impact was enormous. Manufacturers suddenly gained preferential access to hundreds of millions of consumers. Foreign companies saw opportunity. Factories expanded. Investment increased. Supply chains crossed borders. An automobile component might be designed in Michigan, manufactured in Monterrey, assembled in Texas, and sold in Toronto. Mexico became deeply integrated into North American production. And this wasn't just about economics. It changed everyday life. Foreign retailers entered the country. Walmart expanded aggressively and eventually became one of Mexico's largest private employers. Costco, Home Depot, Sam's Club, and countless international brands followed. Consumers suddenly had access to products that previous generations could only dream of purchasing. Televisions, electronics, imported foods, clothing brands, and consumer goods became increasingly available. The internet accelerated this process even further. By the early 2000s, globalization wasn't just happening in factories. It was happening in homes, shopping centers, offices, universities, and eventually on smartphones across the country. Mexico was becoming connected to the global economy in ways previous generations could barely imagine. But just as Mexico was finding its place in global trade, another competitor emerged: China. When China joined the World Trade Organization in 2001, global manufacturing changed dramatically. Factories around the world shifted production towards Asia. China became the manufacturing center of the world. Many economists feared Mexico would lose its competitive advantage. Why manufacture products in Mexico when labor costs in China were often even lower? For a time, those fears appeared justified. Manufacturing investment slowed, and China dominated headlines, and many people believed Mexico had missed its opportunity. But geography would eventually change the equation, because no matter how efficient China became, it remained thousands of miles away from American consumers. Mexico, however, did not. A truck leaving Monterrey can reach Texas in a matter of hours. A shipment from China can take weeks. That geographical advantage will become increasingly valuable as global supply chains grew more complex. Then came the COVID pandemic. Factories shut down. Ports became congested. Shipping costs surged. Companies around the world realized their supply chains were far more fragile than they thought. At the same time, tensions between the United States and China continued rising. Suddenly, businesses began looking for alternatives, and many found them in Mexico. Today, Mexico is experiencing what some economists call a second wave of globalization. This time, it is being driven by nearshoring. Companies want production closer to their customers. They want shorter supply chains. They want greater reliability. And Mexico offers all three. Factories are expanding across states like Nuevo León, Coahuila, Chihuahua, Guanajuato, and Querétaro. Industrial parks are filling up. Foreign investment continues reaching new highs. American companies are investing, European companies are investing, Japanese companies are investing, South Korean companies are investing, and perhaps most interestingly, Chinese companies are investing as well. Many Chinese manufacturers have begun establishing operations in Mexico to maintain access to North American markets. The USMCA agreement, which replaced NAFTA in 2020, further strengthened Mexico's role within the North American economy. For many companies, Mexico is no longer simply a low-cost manufacturing destination. It is becoming a strategic industrial hub. Today, Mexico ranks among the world's largest exporters. Its factories produce vehicles, aerospace components, electronics, medical devices, appliances, and countless other products used around the globe. Entire cities have been transformed by global trade. Monterrey has become one of Latin America's most important industrial centers. Querétaro has emerged as an aerospace hub. Northern Mexico has become deeply integrated with American manufacturing. And yet globalization remains controversial. Supporters point to rising exports, investment, and job creation. Critics argue that globalization has increased inequality, exposed local industries to foreign competition, and made Mexico more dependent on external economic forces. The reality is probably somewhere in between. Globalization did not solve all of Mexico's problems. The country still faces major challenges: security concerns, water shortages, energy constraints, education gaps, and demographic changes that could affect future growth. But one thing is undeniable: the Mexico of today will be almost unrecognizable to someone living in the country 50 years ago. A nation that had once tried to protect itself from the global economy has become one of its most important participants. The products Mexicans buy, the jobs they work, the factories they build, the cities they live in, and the opportunities available to future generations have all been shaped by globalization. Whether that transformation has been entirely good or entirely bad depends on who you ask, but there is no question that it has fundamentally changed the country. Globalization didn't just change Mexico, it transformed it. And the biggest changes may still be ahead. And this is Mexico Insider. Thanks for watching.